guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers. Welcome along, and gratitude to anybody new. In this video, we're going to talk to you about how to make a spooky violin track. All right, now obviously the starting point you're going to want is a spooky violin, right? So the first thing you can do is to get it into tremolo mode, which is by nature a scary sounding violin. Okay, it's used a lot of times in scary movies and it creates tension, and it's actually a violinist that's playing the same note over and over really rapidly and quickly to get that trembling tremor sound, which already is a good place to start. So I'll leave a link in the description with a free library that you can download today from BBC Symphony. Where I'm not going to use in this. I'm going to use my special bow contact library, but you can get the gist of it. It's not too far off. But for now, let's get into the sound and let's get into the door. Okay, so there are a few things you can do to get going before you've even started, which is obviously, I mentioned, making sure you get the right violin sound. Now, there are plenty of plugins that have very awesome ethnic sounding violins. I'll leave the link to some of those in the description because there are so many. I don't have a lot of them. I'm trying to build my own sound, but you can get a good place to start with those. As I said, the tremolo. Then you got to make sure you pick the right scale for you. Okay, what do I mean by that? A good scale, basically a scale is a set of notes. Okay, obviously you have major and minor scales, and most producers know the minor scales are the darker, more scarier ones by nature, right? And so find yourself a good scale, practice those or learn them or understand what's in that scale, because the notes really work well with each other for that, you know, typically a lot of darker violin tracks anyway. For this track, I'm using D minor, which is a beautiful scale. I really love it. You know, C sharp minor is excellent. I like B minor is one of my favorites. F minor is one of my favorites too. That's a little brighter, but they all, depending on what instrument you're using, can change a little bit. Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily mean that a major chord is going to be happy. It depends on what instrument mood is giving you, and when you get tremolo, it already starts moody, so that's a great place to start. Secondly or thirdly, what I like to do, and this is very important, is to make a beat, a drum, like a drum pattern that whatever you want, okay, whatever music you like to make, simple drum pattern, right? Because I think you want the melody you want to practice the melody, and this is if you're playing keys, I'd highly recommend it. And get the scale and then play the melody, all right? Just practice for a while, okay, to find out which notes work together, because the notes are there. This is a higher power. I'm telling you about the notes, which, like, I really believe this, that it's like a code. You have to decode the notes and the scale for that beat. I truly believe that. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to pull out the keyboard right now and I'm going to show you, because I made this track about a year ago. Honestly, I've actually forgotten the exact notes. So we're going to have a little experiment in this video, and I'm going to run through all the steps. I'm going to show you the drums. I'm going to show you how I made this beat. See that tremolo? It's got that spooky sound already. So I have forgotten that beat. I've forgotten the chords and the notes, but the point is, when I was practicing, I did not stop until I got the notes that sounded good. I'm going to play the full beat for you in a minute, but I wanted just to show you how creativity and imagination gets brought out of your soul. Okay, put a beat on, get an instrument, Get a keyboard and just play, and I promise you, eventually when you start to hear the notes and you have a scale and you find the notes which really work with you, like a D minor is basically D, E, F, G, A sharp, and C. Back to D. But I know those notes, like I know them by playing the keys, because I know I like D minor, and I know I'm familiar with the sounds, and I'm familiar with what I know it can work with certain types of beats. You know, I make a lot of cinematic influence tracks, right? And I like, you know, I try to bring cinema or orchestra music to beats, and tremolo is a violin type, and you know, obviously this, I try to play it as much as I can to get that real creativity, to get people's ears really tuned into what is being played, because that's the, like, you know, people want to hear the next melodies. For me are a king. Obviously everyone's different, but for me, I love a melody. But let me do a quick summary, because I've been rambling a little bit. But get a good sound, right? Start off with a really good eerie sound, like something that starts off and sounds scary. You can add all the plugins you want, absolutely. And some of the producers that do that, I'm amazed by how amazing they get their sounds. That's not really my style, but I respect it a lot. Then get the scale that you like, right? Get a good scale, understand some scales, get to learn them. It won't take that long to learn a couple of really good scales, and then you get to know the sounds in them, and you get to, like, okay, this is my favorite scale. Like, I've got favorite scales that work every time, and they don't always fit the track that I'm making, but I can skirt around to the other favorite scales, and I'm like, yeah, I know that, and it works. It's so powerful, I promise you, you know. And then, yeah, just practice with a beat, you know. Let's keep it simple. Make a nice simple 808 with a kick drum. Let me know if you want me to do a video on the drums on that beat, because, you know, I think the 808 and the kick drum sound really nice. And that's it, really. You know, I appreciate anyone tuning in. If you made it this far, thank you very much. I'm going to be putting more videos out like this. There's always going to be a little cinematic twist, or an element of, you know, ethnic cinematic music combined with beats and drums, and, you know, just creativity and imagination and love from the soul. That's it from me, Henry James Rap Cinematic. Peace and love.